If you're trying to learn jazz soloing, where do you start? Do you start with modes? Do you start with chords? Do you start with theory? If you're like me, I was so confused on where to start and how to put everything together. It felt like I was always just like learning one thing, but nothing ever connected. So on today's video, I'm going to show you a simple, easy way to solo over jazz changes. It doesn't involve modes and it doesn't involve any type of heavy theory, okay? So what I want you guys to do is grab your guitars, follow along, because it makes it a whole lot more fun when you can actually play along with me. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this Pat Metheny song as a template for learning, okay? And this song is in the key of D major, so that is step one. You have to know the major scale, okay? And you can follow along with the tab here, but you have to know this major scale, guys. Now, this song goes through a bunch of chords, right? And it can sound confusing, right? Like, do you have to follow every chord and figure out which mode it's in? But then by the time you figure that out, it's already on to the next chord. So to do that would take a lot of horsepower, and unless you're a computer, there's no way you can be computing all those like crazy changes at a moment's notice, right? So here is the way to simplify your thinking, really, okay? It doesn't involve modes, it doesn't involve scales, it doesn't involve any type of heavy theory, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, all right, this whole song is in the key of D major, all right? Just follow along with me. It'll make sense in a second, right? So the whole song is in the key of D major. So we're gonna play through the chords, play through the changes, and you can play the D major scale. Now, when it comes to a chord that sounds outside, you know, it's not part of that family, the D major family, what we're gonna do, instead of thinking like, oh, I gotta figure out what mode it's in, what we're gonna do is figure out what notes in this D major scale have to change so that like you can still solo over that new existing weird chord, right? So say we have a B flat chord, right? That B flat major 7, you know, it's kind of wonky, right? And it doesn't really fit. But instead of thinking, oh, I gotta go into B flat, let's just stay in the key of D. So check it out, with a couple of note changes, you can play over that B flat major chord, right? So I'm still thinking in the key of D, but I'm thinking, okay, that third has to go one note lower or flatted, so I can, and then my 6th note has to go one note flatter. And then my 7th note also has to go one note flatter. So I'm like, okay, I'm changing 3 notes in the D major scale, but I'm still in the key of D, right? I'm still thinking of D major as the parent scale, right? Right? And so that's the thought process you're gonna wanna go through when figuring out these chord changes. So there's a weird chord in the bridge, right? There's a weird chord that sounds like this. So what do we do? That's definitely not in the key of D major, right? So what do we do? So what I would do is I'd figure, okay, what notes do you have to change in the D major scale for this chord to work? And really, it's very, very similar to that B flat major, right? So you're changing, instead of the 3, you're just going down one note. So that 3 is flatted. And then that 7th note is flatted. And all of a sudden we can play over these chord changes by like very simply thinking, okay, my D major is my parent scale, right? That's where home base is. And anytime you leave home base, it's all derived from the D major scale, right? And so this way of thinking, guys, you could take this to other styles of like songs and other like old-timey songs, or, you know, jazz, bebop, you name it. You could take this thinking and run with it. So here would be a way to practice this, guys. You would just play your major scale up, and anytime you hear a new chord coming that doesn't fit within the, like, it doesn't fit within D major, right? You're just gonna change the notes in your scale, right? But you're gonna continue going up. So here's an example of that, right?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Change right there. We're back to D major. D major, we're just playing the scale. Now we have to change right there. Right, so that's like a way you could practice it, right? You're going slow up and down the D major scale, and anytime there's that weird chord change, you just change the notes in your major scale, right? And as you get more comfortable, you can start moving into other shapes. You guys can start like really experimenting. You can go on one string, you know, the sky's the limit. But really, that's how you would solo over these jazz chords, right? You know, it would involve very heavy theory, and it's pretty simple, pretty basic. So try practicing along to this. I'm gonna have the backing track playing for you at the end of this video, so you can really, really just take these techniques, go slow with it. If you gotta rewatch this video, if you wanna just like loop the ending so you can practice along to the track, you know, whatever you guys got to do to get better, because that's really what it's all about, is you guys getting better. So thank you so much for watching Soulful Guitar Lessons. I will see you all next week.
1, 2, 3, 4.